He is a CFL legend. He is collecting a CFL pension. He has more than earned his right to have his say on what happens in the Canadian Football League. Let's welcome back in the Wyoming Cowboy. Woo! Charleston Hughes, how are you, my friend?
Doing pretty good. Just enjoying the weather.
the weather. Holy. Initial thoughts with Commissioner Johnston's big changes that he announced on Monday. The league shortening the field, moving to goalposts, Rouge is gone, play clock, you name it. Everything is up for grabs these days. Where do you fall on this, Charleston?
I think it was a lot of hype built up.
Oh,
I think kudos to them for keeping that stuff a secret. That didn't get leaked out for nothing, man. I mean, that was the
no.
one thing I seen from that is it's been a secret this whole time. How long that been in discussion? It wasn't something that was just popped up and thought about. That had to have been in discussion for a very long time. So kudos for him and his gang for keeping that a secret for so long. But I mean, the changes, when you really, really just think about it, the changes aren't that drastic. I love the headline, though, the Americanizing the CFL. That kind of brought a lot of hype to it and brought a lot of, it stirred the pot up with the headlines. They took a page out of Peter Parker's book. We're going to make a headline and put a headline out there that's going to just crush the league. And I think that's what happened. But when you really look at what was changed, it wasn't a lot of things that were just super Americanizing the league. I mean, they moved the goalposts. That's not that big of a deal. Uh, they 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 took away 10 yards off of the field. All right, guys aren't really mad about that. I mean, you don't got to run as far now. They shortened the end zone. Probably need to be shortened anyways because it was an offensive deal. That put the defense at a disadvantage. You got a lot of ground to cover over that long 20-yard end zone. So it kind of helps the situation a lot better. I mean, how many Grey Cups were lost because of the field goal post being in the dead front of the end zone? How many games were won because of that field goal was dead front in the end zone? As many guys that ran into that goal post and hurt themselves and knocked themselves out. I've seen it. I've ran into it before. So does it pose a safety hazard? Yeah, that does a little bit. Does it change the game that much where it just impacts the game and now kickers are missing field goals? Nah, kickers been missing field goals. So, I mean, it really doesn't impact anything, but it does change a little bit though, I think.
I agree with your first point. Them keeping this tight-lipped because you have a Rolodex of guys in this league that get a paycheck every week. And if they didn't hit you with stuff, because that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, I wonder if Charleston and his crew, like your inner circle, everybody knew this was coming and all of that. I heard an interview yesterday with Stamps president Jay McNeil. He found out about it last Sunday, and then they had to sign an NDA, and then they went through how it was all going to go. But even then, and then nothing leaked. So that is a tight inner circle, first of all.
And whatever guys he got in this camp, man, they are trustworthy.
Yeah, if you're a Stu Johnson guy, hey, cone of silence. Should they have consulted the players? Or is this, no, if you own the business, you can make the rules? Because that's where some of them they're mad. They're not mad about the changes. They're just mad that the PA, even Darian said the other day, even if they did a fake survey that they weren't going to listen to, just a token survey to be like, well, yeah, we got input. Didn't have to listen to it.
Man, the thing is when it comes to the players and the CFLPA and all those guys, they only have so much control and power over certain things. You have control over player safety. You got control. Yep. You got control over, what pay looks like for players. So you really don't have control over the things that he changed. He changed things that directly impact the game, and it does not pose a threat to safety or pay for players. When it comes to that, then players have a say-so. That's the one thing I saw about the situation is the things that he changed really didn't impact player safety. Maybe that goalpost, moving that goalpost out of the way really helped players because now you don't, that's not a threat for you to run into it anymore. So in their eyes, that was an improvement for the league, man.
Okay, so in your opinion, because you played a long time, apparently you and Will Johnson were good at sacking the quarterback. We don't know who was better, but we're not going to debate that on this show. We've been down there. What's one rule change that if you were the Commissioner Charleston, that one or two things that you would have changed in the CFL after playing in it? Like what just doesn't sit right to be like, nah, we got to get this out of
here? The one thing I would change, just because it was different back in the day, but it's different now, is specifically the Canadian ratio. I know that would threaten a lot of guys out there, and it would impact a lot of people. But back when I played in the CFL, the Canadian ratio was kind of really needed to maintain the integrity of the league, really, to remain the Canadian Football League. And the talent levels were at different paces back then, where the U.S. football players were, outpacing the Canadian football players. I think nowadays it's not like that anymore. There's a lot of talented Canadian players out there right now, and guys are developed at a whole different rate than they were back in the day. Back in my early years when I played. So that Canadian U.S. talent separation isn't really needed no more. Some of the best players in the Canadian Football League are Canadian. When you really hands down think about it, the Phil Potts, the elite receivers out there that operate like that, like those guys, like both of his brothers, both of the twins. I mean, those guys are unreal right now. The Samuels, like
Yep.
guys like that are thriving in the league right now and playing at a very high level. And when you think about it, there are the team's go-to receiver over top of all the American guys. So when you look at that and the talent in the league right now, has nothing to do with the ratio. It has everything to do with its talent now.
So if it's 21 or 22 and 7 got to be starters, do you stay with you got to have X amount of starters? Can you just have less? What's a good number if you're changing the ratio, Charleston? What would you change it to? Because I don't think you would have a free-for-all. Like where it's like, the best guys make the team. We're not prepared for that kind of change. There's going to have to, filter this in. Slow roll it, if you will.
Yeah, you have to slow roll it in, man. But I'll take away 1 or 2 every year for the next, probably, I don't know, man. You got to reduce it, though. Give fair opportunity. There shouldn't be no separation between players based on talent, especially nowadays. Like I said, man, the talent level's the same all the way across the board. So you got to treat players the same all the way across the board. It opens the gate for you to bring in good players from all around the world still, and that's just the way it is.
Well, look at Matthew Betts. I would say he's the best defensive end on the BC Lions. And there's American defensive ends, but he's their best defensive end, and he's Canadian. He went to Laval.
Yeah,
so I think he would have a job.
Sacks right now.
What is the league leader in sacks? What are we up to? 3, 4, maybe? Are we going to finish out at 8 like last year? What are we on pace for?
Yeah. Man, I think it's Betts. Betts leading the league with maybe 9 or 10 sacks right now. I think it's 9 or 8 sacks right now. So he's leading the league right now in sacks, and he's a Canadian player.
10.
I think the top 5 are all Canadian players for the most part when you really think about it. And it has nothing to do with just him. It's just the way the league is working right now. I mean, I'd have 18 by now, really.
Let's say that, of course you would. And no quarterback pressures, all sacks. We don't count pressures, just sacks. A lot of people were saying, Stuart Johnson, who are you? You're 151 days in on your job. Who are you to come in and change this? Could you imagine if he would have, on top of this, and messed with the ratio? There'd be 9 cities burning to the ground right now if he decided to maybe he does have a grand plan, but like, whoa, well, we can only do so much at once because I don't disagree with you, Charleston. I think that there's the best players should get the opportunity. And as you see it, as they put together game day rosters, that's what happens. And so, yeah, I don't disagree. The Canadian talent level is incredible these days compared to what it used to be. Look at the receiving cores of all these teams. Look at the Saskatchewan Roughrider receiving core. That's a Canadian Air Force 2.0, and good luck if you don't have that passport cracking it. I don't think you get it. Did we lose Charleston there? Did we freeze up? Is the cell service in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, not awesome at the moment, Colson? Are we trying to get him back? Okay, sure. I will give Charleston credit. Super on time. Bang on. Was more than on time. We've been chatting with Charleston Hughes here about the big changes that Stuart Johnson, the commissioner, made the other day. And Charleston's saying, not that big of a deal. Likes the goalpost moving out of the way. As someone who has, he said, ran into a goalpost before. And I asked him, what would you change? And he said, for him, it's ratio. You don't need to prop up the Canadians anymore. They can earn their spots on the team. I'd agree. Like 20, 21, that's a lot, on a 43-person roster. And, the best athlete. And I get why they did it. It's like radio stations. This is not a secret. Radio stations in Canada have to play a certain amount of Canadian music to hope that, and the original thinking was to keep the Canadian music industry robust or strong. A lot of radio stations have to play 35 or 45 or 40% Canadian music every day to keep their license so they can support the system. But there are bands, and I'm glad that we've circled back on Nickelback because they're not, but they can sell out stadiums around the world on their own. They don't need to be propped up by the system because the talent is shown through and they're just good enough, just like with Shania Twain and others. So that's Charleston's take, that he thinks change the ratio. All right, Charleston Hughes back on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Hey, listen,
sorry,
Wi-Fi
man,
in Wyoming.
My phone overheated.
What?
Yeah,
what's the temperature in Wyoming today?
It's 85, 90 right now.
Ooh, it's 30 degrees. It's 30 degrees in Regina today, so it's smoking hot. Let's go back to these games last weekend. I'm glad that Montreal beat Toronto because I would have been so mad if they would have went after beating the Riders and then they lose in Toronto. I was so frustrated. But the game that followed, the BC 52-23 beatdown of the Calgary Stampeders. Ooh. Wow. Nobody. If you ask Buck Pierce, he probably didn't see that coming. But it happened. BC looked good.
He didn't see it coming either, man. But I can tell you one thing right now. This is when it starts for Calgary. The floodgates.
You think this is going to be the slide?
Yeah, man. Definitely the slide that needs to happen because you didn't see that. You didn't see that confidence that VA's been playing with the whole time. You didn't see the VA magic. Like, he was doing some stuff in his first couple games that was magical, and I don't even know if he believed what he was doing. But the thing is now they've been kind of knocked off the pedestal, and shown that they're a team that has to play consistent, throughout the rest of the season. So it's going to get interesting for them from here on out. I can guarantee that.
I think VA needs to protect himself because that slide, he went head first instead of feet first, and he ended up getting, I think it's kneed in the ribs. He had to come out of the game, couldn't finish. The game at that point, I think, was out of touch. I don't know if they'd have come back, but he's for the sake of the football club, he's got to stay on the field. So he's got to be smart. Be smart football. And Forlane or Remolade may be out with an Achilles for the rest of the year. Has Dave Dickinson and John Huffnagel reached out to you to see if you're still in shape? Could you come in, maybe play 5-6 games, get some sack, just come in, shore up that Stamps D-line? Where are we at? Contract talks.
Would I do it? Yes. Will I do it?
Okay.
It's a long shot.
Charleston Hughes all of a sudden he just phones Huff back with the Price is Right music in the background. Be like, yeah, if the price is right, I'm coming back. But I don't, there's not enough zeros on that Plinko board yet. Not enough zeros.
Ain't enough zeros, man, to get me to come back, man.
I think the hardest part about watching the game on Friday is they showed the touchdown horse and the lady, and they both looked dejected on the sideline because there was no running happening. There was just nothing. They were just hanging out, nothing to do. BC, Buck Pearson, Nathan Rourke are on the same page, and then BC only had to play a little bit of defense. So they're starting to become a bit of a problem, which I was worried about, that they would eventually get it together. If you can put up 50 points, maybe the defense doesn't have to be stellar. There's Charleston. Okay, Winnipeg at Ottawa. And I'm not sure if you watched this game, if you watched it on replay, you just saw the highlights, but the Winnipeg Blue Bombers won, only completing 3 of 8 passes. Ottawa throws for 400 yards, 26-18. To me, especially with the announcement on Monday, that game was, that's not your resume, that's not game tape. That was embarrassing on Saturday that even happened, but it did.
I don't know, man. It is embarrassing, man, and it's something that they got to kind of figure out on both ends, man. But you just got to play your best ball, man, all the time. And that was a bad display, I guess you could say.
I give Winnipeg credit. They finally, it had to become about passion. They said, forget it. With whatever we have on the field, we got to win this game, and they did. So I give them credit. The fact that I don't know what the backup situation in Winnipeg is like. Is he worse than Strevler throwing the ball? Because
no, man, he probably just never got no game reps. He never touched the field for a game in the CFL. Don't know the playbook. Running scout team. Like, hey, what you gonna throw a guy like that out there and wish for the best? I mean, at some point you will have to, just to see what you got. But at this point, you got to ride. You got to try to ride it out for as long as you can.
I think if you're Bob Dice and the Red Blacks, that one hurts a lot. It's an indictment of your team, and that may cause ripples. And who knows? Some people, obviously after the game, people were calling for Bob Dice's head, and we know that that's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, but that doesn't bode well for the future. And then Hamilton beats Edmonton 29-27. And yes, Hamilton was the better team. I don't think that they necessarily deserve to win that game because Edmonton, they're learning how to hang around and just be there. They just hang around and hang around. That's 2 last-second losses in a row. But Charleston, you know this. Football's that momentum thing. You're getting close. The dam's going to break, and I'm afraid that the dam may break Saturday in Edmonton against the Riders, which I don't want to have happen.
You never know, man. Edmonton is playing some good football.
I know. Good football.
Season, they're just having a hard time closing games out. And you never know what that comes down to. It can come down to just being young coaching staff. It can come down to just having a bunch of young players on the field. Not a lot of just veteran players that know how to close games out and know how to win a game and push your team and push your players. But they're playing good football, man, and it makes them a dangerous team because they can hang in there with the best of any team in this league. And I think if they roll into this playoff, you'll be surprised if they roll into the playoffs and just happen to sneak in, and they'll surprise you.
Week 17, Calgary's at Montreal Friday, Toronto at BC, Hamilton at Winnipeg, and Saskatchewan at Edmonton. Some good matchups coming up. Yeah. All right, my friend. Thank you for braving the Wyoming heat this afternoon and joining us here on the SportsCage, Charleston Hughes. So the commission hasn't reached out.
I think I'm in North Dakota right now.
Oh.
I could have came right to you and sat right there with you personally.
Nice. North Dakota, Charleston Hughes, as always. Safe travels, and don't spend your CFL pension checks all in one spot. in American funds. Didn't translate.
Thank you.
We always appreciate the time. That's Charleston Hughes on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline.